Hey folks, I normally make silly videos, but not today. I cannot do it today because of all that's happening between Russia and Ukraine. It's such a travesty. It's such a clear act of aggression by Russia. I'm not political, I'm not an expert, but I did watch the speech by the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. And you know, in the Western media, CNN and others, they distilled it down to a few sound bites. They said, oh, it was a long speech, rambling speech, and how it denied Ukraine its sovereignty. But I'll tell you, there was a lot more in that speech, because he spoke about history, starting with Catherine the Great and what kind of conquest she made during her time, during her reign, when she was expanding the Russian Empire. He spoke about Lenin and Stalin and all the policies that the Bolsheviks had during the days of the Soviet Union for the republics as they were known then, including Ukraine. And he spoke about various other policies that were put in place as Soviet Union was being dissolved. Basically, he gave a lot of historical context, and yet again he reaffirmed that the dissolution of the Soviet Union was the worst political calamity of the 20th century. He also spoke about the United States and other Western countries and NATO, which has been expanding steadily eastward towards Russia, creating economic, political and military threats to Russia, at least according to him. And again, I'm not a specialist, I'm not a politician, I'm not a Kremlinologist, but some of what he said, maybe even much of what he said, is actually probably reality. But does that give the right to Russia to go and invade another country? No. I'll give you an analogy. Let's say I used to be really wealthy and I had a whole estate, I had multiple houses, but then for a variety of reasons I had to give up some of my houses. I still have the largest house, but some of them I had to give away. And I can still see those houses, and new people live in the house where I used to live, and they even use my stuff. I used to have that really nice lawnmower and they use it now, but I used to take really good care of that house. I can see them, they barely taking care of the house now. In fact, they have loud parties, they have friends who come over, and they even make fun of me. So as you can imagine, I do not like this situation. One, because I had to give up this house, and two, because the way they are taking care of this house is not how I would take care of this house. I would do a much better job. But do I have the right to go over there and kick out the old owner and say, no, this is my house again? No, of course not. It's illegal. Police will show up and say, sir, we understand that you used to own this house, but now this is the new owner. You cannot be here. You're trespassing. And that's exactly what is happening between Russia and Ukraine. Yes, there are all kinds of geopolitical forces and reasons and threats and trends and factors and whatnot, but the basic truth of the matter is Russia is trespassing. I will point out that the year is 2022, because we tend to think that we're so much more enlightened these days, and all these like conquests of new lands, all of that died together with Cortez and the conquistadors, or at least with Hitler. But as you can see, that is not the case. Some countries are actually aggressively pursuing those kinds of agendas even today. And I'm not so sure that the United States has paid enough attention to this issue. We've always had some kind of war on Trump, war on COVID, but I think we have forgotten who our real enemies are. Countries that are actually aggressive, those that mean harm to us, that mean harm to democracies around the world. And we should be paying a lot more attention to those threats. Finally, for me personally, a person who was born in the Soviet Union, where Russia and Ukraine were not just equal, they were the same. I cannot imagine actual war between those two countries. I hope the situation does not escalate further. I hope there is no all-out war and loss of life. I hope some cooler heads are having some behind-the-scenes diplomatic conversations. I hope things will get de-escalated. I'm really praying for that.